Hey guys, how's it going? CoderMan here. In today's video, I want to talk about what I consider modern day snake oil and what that is. So for those who don't know, snake oil is selling something that can cure all, can fix all. You buy this product and all your troubles will be solved. It's been a tactic for many, many years. It started in the West and it's kind of just grown on. Now, when I'm referring to modern day snake oil, what I'm referring to is people and companies that sell you this dream and, work with us and we can do everything. And the problem with that is that they're not an expert in anything except marketing. And if you're using them for marketing, I guess that works out pretty well. But the problem is, they'll say, hey, I'm a social media expert, and then you look up their accounts and they have dismal numbers. Or, I'm a YouTube expert and they have 1,000 subscribers. Now, that's a good amount, but you probably don't want to be learning from them if they're saying that they're the expert. I never at any time say that I'm an expert or that I know everything about business. I think every day is a learning experience, and all I'm doing with this content is providing my insight over the years of things that I've personally, worked on, had to deal with, whatever. And all I'm doing is I'm basically just providing a look into my journey. Now, if I was sitting here saying, follow these 5 steps and, you too can be a millionaire, then I would fall into that same category of selling a dream with really no backing. And the problem with it isn't so much that, they're doing it, because, there's scammers and everything out there. But the biggest issue that I have with it is especially because of social media, they can get a pretty big following of kind of like a cult following in a way, but they have no real value. They're rehashing what everybody else says. They're killing it, they're crushing it, they're going to be the next whatever. And while I think you should plan big, meaning you should dream big rather, I don't think you should sell it that way. And what ends up happening is, let's say that you're learning from somebody who says that, we'll take websites for example. They're a website expert. They've built websites. And you look at their portfolio and it looks good, but you're not technically savvy, so you don't think anything of it. And you go and hire them, and then all of a sudden you get a WordPress template and your site looks like 50 other sites, but you don't really know it because you trusted them. And what ends up happening is your brand and your image gets diluted because people see you and they're like, wow, this is just a cookie cutter template website. Why would I want to do business with this person? They can't even invest in their own image. Whereas when you're learning from somebody like that, yeah, they could teach you the basics, but I've learned over the years with working with other developers, if you ask them to go slightly out of their comfort zone, they're screwed. They get into a situation where, let's say that you're building a mobile app and the default UI comes from Apple or Android, but a client says, hey, we want to do a custom, date picker. There's no, like plugin or quick little thing that you can just drop in and be done. Now there are, of course, on like GitHub and stuff, there are plugins you could download and maybe tweak and modify, and kind of like, if you're a fan of The Simpsons, there was the pigeon rat, which is basically you glued a pigeon and a rat together and you created something new, but it's not exactly what the client wants. It's not exactly what you should be building. It, gets the job done. But does that make you a custom developer, or does that make you, like a script kiddie, hacker, coder type person? And that's kind of the differentiation, is who you're learning from. Now, like I said at the beginning, I never sit there and say that I'm an expert, because I'm not. Every day I'm learning something new. Every day I'm growing and expanding and, constantly learning. I've been doing this for about, 14 years now, professionally. And I'm still buying books and training and videos and going to events and stuff to learn what's new, and also just, what works for other people. The other problem that I have with the modern day snake oil is that when these people are putting out their lives and saying how super successful they are, and, here's all the stuff I have, or here's all the successes I have, there's no way to really prove it, because, you can't ask them, you could ask them, but they're more than likely not going to show you their bank account. You know, they're not going to show you your account receivables in QuickBooks or whatever accounting software they're using. So what ends up happening is you just tend to believe them. And this isn't everybody. I mean, I follow a bunch of people that do show off what they have and where they've come from and where they're going. And it's legit because I've personally known them, or they're just, you kind of can tell through their story, like they're transparent and they're honest. Whereas when it's vague and it's like, you know, oh, I made all this money one day and now I'm doing this. And it's like, okay, well, how did you make that money? Oh, well, many ways. And it's like, well, if you made the money in a legit, successful way, why wouldn't you tell people? You know, so my point of making this video is not to bitch and moan or to, you know, single out a person or persons or anything like that. It's really just to, you know, like anything in life, do your due diligence, do your research, and especially when it comes to who you're learning from. And this isn't limited to just individuals because, you know my thoughts on college and why I don't think it's for everybody. And it comes back to that as well. You know, if you're in a business class and you're learning from somebody who read a book or read a series of books on how to run a business, but they have no friggin' idea how to actually do it because they've never actually got in the trenches and done it, why would you want to learn from somebody like that? You know, me personally, I want to learn from people, you know, like Gary Vaynerchuk or Andy Frisella. You know, these types of guys that have been out there and done in the business in the blood, sweat, and tears, and now they're showing what they're doing daily, and they're also showing, you know, how to do things and how not to do it. And that's kind of what I'm modeling this channel after, is that same concept of helping people avoid some of the pitfalls that maybe I came across or I've, you know, personally spoke with people and learned about. And at the same time, providing my perspective on small business ownership and, you know, in entrepreneurship in general. Really, it just comes down to, you know, be aware of who you're learning from. Definitely do your research. And if you see somebody on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or whatever, and they have this super glamorous life, but the pieces just don't add up, I mean, trust your instinct. You know, we always say if a deal's too good to be true, it probably is. You know, if I hopped on here on the camera, sat in front of, you know, a garage full of cars and said, buy my course and you too can own these cars, you know, you're probably going to be like, all right, this is just some scam, I'm not going to listen. Whereas if I am sitting in one of those cars driving it and it just happens to be that's the background, but I'm not like selling you something, I'm not, you know, not saying, oh, you too can live the dream. I mean, this is a huge difference. And again, I mean, this is you know, this could potentially just be my opinion, but in speaking with people and in deciding if I wanted to even do this video, because I know, like the get rich quick scheme video, it's, you know, it's going to have some dislikes, it's going to have some hate, and usually it's the people that are doing it that are upset. So, you know, at the end of the day, just do your own research, find out who you're learning from, find out what you're learning about. You know, focus your effort and your time on good value and progressing your business at a realistic rate. You know, the last thing I'll say is if you're starting a business, you know, let's say you're starting a business today, have some out of this world goals, you know, 1 million, 10 million, 100 million, but don't say I'm going to do it in 30 days. It could happen. You could build a Snapchat killer. Evan Spiegel could contact you at the end of the month and say, hey, I'm going to buy your product for $10 million. It certainly could happen, but I just don't want you to sit there and be disappointed on the 31st day when it doesn't happen, or potentially doesn't happen, and then you get discouraged and you don't move forward. You know, because I mean, as you know, or as you probably have heard me say before, in business, consistency is key, and any sort of movement is positive movement. I mean, realistically, even if you make a bad move, you're still going to learn something from it. You can continue to move on. So I know this topic's a little bit more controversial and, you know, hated, if you will, than I tend to cover, but I felt like it needed to be said. You know, this is, like I said, this is my thoughts, and my thoughts based on speaking with other people. If you have any comments or questions, definitely leave one below. Please like the video and subscribe if you're new here. Check out some of my other content, which I'll link here, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.